It was the most extravagant wedding Dubai had ever seen. The Sheikh, Amir Al Fahd, heir to one of the city's oldest royal families, was marrying a woman the world knew little about. Layla Hassan, a stunning biochemist who had lived quietly in London for most of her life. The wedding cost nearly $5 million, from gold-embroidered invitations to diamond-studded tableware. Guests flew in from every corner of the world, filling the Al Noor Palace with laughter, light, and a sense of perfection. For Amir, it was more than a wedding, it was redemption. Years of business scandals had bruised his reputation, and this marriage symbolized a new beginning. The press called it the wedding of forgiveness, but behind the smiles, Layla hid a nervous tremor. She wasn't marrying a fairy tale prince, she was marrying a man known for power and control. Still, she believed she could bring peace into his stormy life. 3 days after the ceremony, the couple retreated to a private villa in the desert, a gift from the Sheikh's father. The staff was dismissed, the phones were off, and the newlyweds vanished from public sight. Dubai's tabloids filled pages with speculation, showing drone shots of the golden villa under the stars. But inside those walls, tension began to grow. Amir noticed how Layla avoided questions about her past. When his cousin mentioned that her family records were strangely incomplete, a seed of suspicion was planted. Everyone has something to hide, Amir whispered to himself that night as he poured another drink. His mind, trained to rule and control, couldn't stand uncertainty. So he ordered a private investigator to run a background check and, without Layla's knowledge, a DNA test. 2 weeks later, the report arrived in a sealed envelope bearing the investigator's insignia. It contained one simple line that froze Amir's blood. The subject shares a direct paternal DNA match with you. Amir's glass slipped from his hand, shattering across the marble floor. His breath quickened. The words didn't make sense until they did. Layla wasn't just his wife. She was something else entirely. Something that could destroy his name, his family, and his empire. As the desert wind howled outside, Amir stared at the night sky, realizing that the woman sleeping beside him carried a truth too dangerous to exist. The following morning, Sheikh Amir sat alone in his study, the DNA report trembling in his hand. The desert sun spilled through the tinted glass, yet the room felt cold. His mind raced through the possibilities: error, fraud, coincidence, but none could erase the words staring back at him. Paternal match. He ordered his guards to find the investigator who ran the test. Within hours, the man was brought to the palace, terrified. "It's accurate, Your Highness," he stammered. "I ran the sample twice. The woman you married, her DNA links directly to your father's bloodline." Amir dismissed him with a silent gesture, but inside, fury built like a storm. If Layla shared his father's DNA, there was only one explanation: his father had hidden an affair decades ago. Layla was his half-sister. That night, Layla noticed his silence. She approached him in the candlelit dining room, her voice gentle. "Amir, you're distant. What's wrong?" He smiled faintly. "Just business matters," he lied, pouring her another glass of wine. But beneath the calm, his thoughts were dark. He couldn't let this truth come out. The royal family name, already stained by scandal, would never survive such disgrace. 2 days later, Amir confronted his father in the royal hospital, where the old man lay weak and oxygen-bound. "Who is Layla Hassan?" he demanded. The old Sheikh's eyes flickered with shock and guilt. "She's the child I never acknowledged," he whispered. "Her mother was a researcher in London. I sent her money, but I never met the girl." Amir's chest tightened. "And now she's my wife," he hissed. The old man turned pale. "Amir, no one must know. It will destroy us all." That night, back at the villa, Amir's rage reached its peak. He watched Layla sleeping peacefully, unaware of the storm that was about to break. He whispered to himself, "If the secret dies, the family survives." He picked up the small silver gun, hidden in his bedside drawer, his father's gift years ago, and walked toward her. But as he raised it, Layla woke, gasping. "Amir, what are you doing?" He froze. Tears welled in her eyes as she whispered, "I know what you found. I found it too. I didn't know until after the wedding. Please don't do this." Amir's hands trembled. He couldn't pull the trigger, yet he couldn't let her live. In that split second, she reached for him, trying to stop him, but the gun went off. The echo rang through the villa, shattering the silence of the desert night. Layla fell to the floor, her hand outstretched toward him. Blood spread slowly across the white marble. Amir dropped the weapon, sinking beside her in disbelief. The next morning, when the servants arrived, the Sheikh was gone. Only Layla's lifeless body remained, her wedding ring still gleaming under the morning sun. The golden villa was silent when the police arrived that morning. The servants, trembling, led investigators through the marble halls until they reached the bedroom where Layla Al-Fad lay lifeless, a single gunshot wound to the chest. Her wedding gown, once white, was now soaked crimson. The scent of expensive perfume mixed with the metallic tang of blood. Detective Farid Al-Mansour, one of Dubai's most respected criminal investigators, took one glance at the scene and knew this wasn't a robbery. "This was personal," he muttered. The gun was found near the bed, fingerprints smudged. No sign of forced entry. The Sheikh's private car was missing. "Find him," Farid ordered, "before the world finds out." Within hours, news channels exploded. Tragedy in the Al-Fad Palace, bride found dead, Sheikh missing. Social media flooded with theories. Some called it a kidnapping. Others whispered of betrayal. The royal family released a short statement, asking for privacy and prayers. But behind closed doors, panic spread like fire. Forensic teams worked through the day. They found Layla's laptop, locked with encryption, and a hidden folder titled Truth. Inside were documents, DNA reports, and emails between Layla and a genetic lab in London, proof that she had discovered the truth about her connection to Amir days before her death. Detective Farid sat back, stunned. "So she knew," he whispered. She knew and tried to confront him. The timeline began to form. The DNA test, the confrontation, the gunshot. But something didn't fit. Why would a man as powerful as Amir leave behind so much evidence? 3 days later, Farid received a tip from border security. Private jet registered under a fake name had departed for Oman the night of the murder. Surveillance footage showed Amir boarding alone, wearing casual clothes and a baseball cap. The video leaked online within hours. The internet went wild. The Sheikh is on the run. Interpol issued a red notice. Every port, every airport from the Middle East to Europe was alerted. But the Sheikh had vanished into the sands. Farid couldn't shake one thought. If Amir was truly guilty, why did he take nothing? No money, no passports, no jewelry. Something was wrong. That night, as he reviewed the evidence again, a junior officer ran in. "Sir, you need to see this." On the lab monitor, a forensic tech zoomed in on the gun's fingerprint image. "The primary print doesn't match Sheikh Amir," she said quietly. "It matches someone else older, partial match to his father's record." Farid's heart pounded. "You're telling me the old Sheikh was there?" Outside, Dubai's skyline glittered under the night sky. But inside the police headquarters, a darker truth was beginning to surface, one that could shatter the royal legacy forever. 2 weeks after the murder, Dubai was a city divided. Half believed Sheikh Amir had murdered his wife in rage. The other half whispered that he had been framed. The royal family remained silent, their palaces guarded and their reputation crumbling under the global spotlight. But Detective Farid wasn't done. He had a feeling the truth was buried beneath years of secrets, and he was ready to dig it out. The partial fingerprint on the weapon was the first clue. It belonged to Sheikh Khalid Al-Fahd Amir's aging father, who was supposedly bedridden in the royal hospital. Farid decided to visit unannounced. When he entered the hospital suite, the old sheikh sat by the window, staring into the skyline, his oxygen mask hissing softly. "You shouldn't be here," he said without turning. Farid placed the DNA report on the table. "You knew, didn't you? You knew Layla was your daughter. You let Amir marry her." Khalid's eyes darkened. "It was a mistake I made long ago. One I hope to bury. Then why does your fingerprint match the murder weapon?" Farid asked. For a moment, the old man said nothing. Then his hands began to shake. "Amir came to me the night before," he confessed, his voice weak. "He told me what he'd learned. He said he couldn't live with it, that he would end her life before anyone found out. I begged him not to. I followed him to the villa to stop him." Farid leaned forward. "And then?" Khalid's eyes filled with tears. "They argued. The gun went off by accident. Amir panicked. I told him to leave, to run. I took the gun, tried to clean it, but my strength failed me. I wanted to protect him. And my legacy." The confession was recorded, witnessed, and sealed. But before it could reach the court, Sheikh Khalid passed away that night silently, taking half the truth with him. Days later, Amir was found in an abandoned villa near the Oman border. He was dehydrated, disoriented, and had not spoken a word since his arrest. When Detective Farid visited him in custody, Amir simply said, "It wasn't murder, it was destiny. We were both born of the same sin." The trial was short but sensational. With his father gone, Amir took full responsibility for Layla's death. He refused any defense, refused mercy, and accepted his sentence: life imprisonment without parole. Months later, journalists uncovered Layla's final letter, stored on her encrypted laptop. It read, "If love is pure, it can survive any truth. But ours was born from a lie too deep to heal." Her words spread across the internet, quoted in headlines and documentaries around the world. Detective Farid closed the case with a heavy heart. Dubai's skyline shone brighter than ever, but beneath its golden towers, the story of the Sheikh and the secret bloodline became a quiet reminder that even the richest lives can collapse under the weight of hidden sins. And in the empty villa where it all began, the desert wind still whispers the same haunting question: was it love, or was it blood that killed her?